While water slides are definitely a lot of fun, they are much more dangerous than you might expect. That's because safety often takes a back seat when they are being designed, and thus it shouldn't come as a surprise that they are the source of thousands of hospital visits each and every year. So today, we're going to be giving you a glimpse into the top 10 most dangerous water slides in the entire world. Number 10, the Vertigo Slide. Simply put, the Vertigo Slide is an adrenaline junkie's dream. That's because this slide, which was opened at Spain's Aqualandia Waterpark in 2013, is not only the tallest in Europe, but the tallest capsule slide in the entire world. What that means is that rather than just sit and slide down, riders are put into a capsule with a trap door. When this trap door suddenly releases, the rider then shoots down the slide at a speed of more than 60 miles per hour. Now, although the total ride time is only about 3 seconds long, the slide is unsurprisingly pretty dangerous, yet not in the way that you might expect. You see, it is actually the slide's trap door that can cause problems, and in July of 2014, the trap door failed to fully open, severely injuring a man who got stuck in the partially open door. However, considering that the slide was opened only 10 minutes after he was sent to hospital, we guess the park staff weren't too concerned. Number 9, the Leap of Faith. Often hailed to be one of the scariest water slides in the world, it is not the slide itself, but what surrounds it that makes it truly frightening. That's because this slide, which is located at the Atlantis Hotel in the Bahamas, sends riders through a pool that is teeming with sharks. Constructed in 1998, the slide shoots riders down a near 60-foot drop, and then afterwards, riders are funneled through the shark tank in an acrylic tube. Now, although the sharks surrounding the slide are aggressive Caribbean and hammerhead sharks, the slide is relatively safe. However, if there was ever to be an issue with the acrylic tubing, this could lead to quite the tragedy. Number 8, the Black Down It. They are completely encapsulated inside a dark tube, and as a result, the ride experience is near pitch black. Yet, while the slide itself is not dangerous, it is the park's operation of it that is. That's because despite the fact that it takes a 2-person tube about 23 seconds to make it through the entire slide, ride operators are instructed to send people down at 20-second intervals. Therefore, it only takes one person getting stuck inside the slide for injuries to occur. And as a result, the slide has been the subject of multiple lawsuits over the years. However, the worst lawsuit of them all occurred in 1994, when a man who was severely injured after hitting something while going down the slide was given a $1.73 million payout. On our end, we just hope that in the future, the park considers adding a few more safety precautions for the sake of everyone involved. Number 7, the Steamer Slide. At first glance, the Steamer Slide, which is located at Calypso Waterpark in Ontario, Canada, seems pretty tame. After all, it's just your classic bowl slide. Riders sit on a tube, go through a dark tunnel, and spin around the bowl. Yet, what makes this slide dangerous is a defect in its design. In particular, it has developed a buckle that often causes tubes to flip over, and this is in direct contradiction to Ontario's Technical Standards and Safety Act. As a result, in 2015 alone, the slide was the subject of 20 lawsuits, and while some of them were dismissed, 6 resulted in payouts that amounted to a combined total of $500,000. On our end, we just hope that the park invests some money into repairs sooner rather than later. Number 6, Insano. Insano is, quite frankly, just as insane as the name suggests. Built in 1989 at Brazil Beach Park in Aqualandia, Brazil, at the time it was the tallest water slide in the world. However, while it may no longer hold that title today, the fear factor is definitely still there. That's because the slide hurls riders down a 135-foot drop in the span of just 5 seconds, often reaching speeds of 65 miles per hour. What makes this slide so quick is its steep slope, and it is in fact so steep that many riders go airborne for parts of the ride. While this has yet to cause any serious injuries, we wouldn't be surprised if this slide has some safety slips in the near future. Number 5. The Aqua Loop. If you thought loops on a roller coaster were crazy, then maybe this slide isn't for you. That's because the Aqua Loop, which is located on Australia's Gold Coast, has a loop that is similar to those found on roller coasters. In particular, riders plunged down the bottom of the loop, as she sustained several injuries while pulling herself through an escape hatch. Yet, despite both this injury and the countless others that have occurred since, the slide continues to be in operation to this day. Number 4. Cannonball Falls. Located at New Jersey's Action Park, Cannonball Falls is, at first glance, not too dangerous. After all, the slide itself is pretty tame. However, once the riders are finished riding, they face a 10-foot drop into the water, leading to numerous injuries over the years. This slide is credited with causing the most hospitalizations for a water park slide in the state of New Jersey. Yet, this shouldn't be too surprising. After all, Action Park actually had to close down in 1996 due to the number of lawsuits against it, and only reopened in 2014 after reportedly becoming safer. However, given the injury count on this slide, we think that they still have some more work to do. Number 3. The Scorpion's Tail. Located at Noah's Ark Waterpark in Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, this slide is actually credited as the first in the world to send riders on a full loop-de-loop. Now, needless to say, the ride experience is pretty crazy. After falling through the slide's trapdoor, riders are sent down a 50-foot drop at a ridiculously steep 70-degree angle. From there, they enter a 60-degree angle loop-de-loop that has them completely upside down, and only after this loop does the slide finally ease up. Now, although the slide's speed is a relatively tame 30 miles per hour, it's these features that make it a thrilling ride, and we're confident that going down this super slide would certainly be super scary. Number 2. The Cannonball Loop. While Action Park already got a mention on this list, the Cannonball Loop, which is no longer around today, was one of the most dangerous slides to have ever existed. First built in 1985, this slide was dangerous thanks to its insane speeds and complete loop-de-loop. Although the specific stats of the slide are no longer known, what we do know is that the owner of the park paid employees $100 each to test it out before it opened, and that apparently a dummy that was sent down the slide came out the other side headless and dismembered. Regardless, the slide was still open and was the cause of numerous nosebleeds, bruises, and back injuries. In fact, the slide was so badly designed, the park was forced to install an escape hatch after one rider got stuck at the top of the loop. However, to the surprise of no one, the slide only operated for 1 month before officially being shut down forever. Number 1. The Verruckt. German for insane or crazy, we think a name like deadly might have been more fitting. That's because the Verruckt, which was located at Schlitterbahn, Kansas City in the United States, is the only slide on this list that has killed one of its riders. You see, at the time of its construction, the Verruckt was the tallest slide in the world. sending riders sitting in a tube down a 170-foot drop at speeds of 70 miles per hour. This slide's 60-degree slope made it extremely dangerous. Yet, while injuries were common on the slide, the worst of them all occurred in August of 2016, when a 10-year-old boy died on the slide after his tube went airborne, decapitating him when the flying tube caused him to hit the metal support beam holding up the netting. As a result, the slide was torn down in November of 2018, and the park's director of operations was arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter, aggravated battery, aggravated child endangerment, and interference with law enforcement. However, in February of 2019, all criminal charges were dropped against him. Regardless, we're pretty confident he's going to be a little more careful next time the park installs a new slide. That's all we have for you today, folks, and thank you all for watching. Let us know in the comments down below which slide you thought was the most dangerous. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on all of our latest content.